The Word-Bearers. The fall of the legions was rarely a single event, but a slow erosion of loyalty through pride or tragic necessity. The first to fall were the Word-Bearers, and they were a key driver in the Horus heresy. The turning point came at Monarchia when the Emperor forced Lorgar and his entire legion to kneel in the ashes of their once great city, ordered to be burned for being too religious. After a month of isolation, Lorgar emerged as a changed man. For the Word-Bearers, their new mission was grounded in the belief that chaos undivided is a philosophy. They are devoted to the truth of chaos itself, which they view as the very essence of reality. This conviction makes them the most ideologically steadfast traitor legion, and they are the only ones that never fractured after the heresy. Even after 10,000 years, they maintain a complete command structure, led by a ruling Dark Council of Dark Apostles, and a cohesive strategic approach, while other legions have splintered into chaotic warbands. Their method of warfare embodies this long-game mindset. Dark Apostles sow the seeds of chaos cults on target worlds long before the Legion arrives, ensuring that by the time the Word-Bearers make their entrance, the local populace is already in disarray. They employ mass demonic summoning as a central combat tactic, calling forth hordes from the warp during battles, while reciting scripture from Lorgar's sacred texts over their Vox networks. For them, every battle is not just a military operation, but also a religious ceremony. As the Legion pushes forward, Lorgar himself remains a distant presence, often lost in meditation in near-permanent seclusion on their homeworld of Sycharis. In his absence, the Legion is influenced by the ongoing Cold War between Khor Pharon, the Black Cardinal, and Erebus, the first chaplain who played a key role in corrupting Horus. The Night Lords. Konrad Curze destroyed his own homeworld of Nostromo in the late M30 after its population returned to old habits in his absence, and was effectively an outlaw before Horus ever declared. He joined the traitors out of contempt for the Imperium's pretense that law and justice were the same thing. Terror, in his view, was the only honest form of order. What makes the Night Lords unique among all 9 traitor legions is that they reject divine patronage entirely, viewing it as weakness dressed as power. They are predators and mercenaries who fight for material reward and the pleasure of causing fear. No demonic gifts, no eternal crusade in a god's name, just pure nihilism with a taste for theatrics. Their battlefield doctrine is psychological destruction before physical destruction. They broadcast the sounds of ongoing atrocities across planetary Vox networks before they arrive. They hang bodies where they will be visible from orbit, targeting the most recognizable figures in a population to maximize dread. Curze was assassinated in M33 by a Calidus assassin. He is believed to have known she was coming and arranged to be alone when she arrived. He reportedly watched her approach and did nothing. The Night Lords have had no Primarch and no unified command since. Individual warlords operate independently, which suits their doctrine perfectly. They've preyed on the edges of Imperial space, flaying populations, broadcasting terror, and vanishing before a coordinated response could be mounted. They contribute to every Black Crusade but answer to no one. In M42, the fall of Cadia forced their demon world Narakir out of the Eye of Terror and into real space. The Night Lords immediately used it as a forward operating base for campaigns across the Sentinel worlds, flaying entire planetary populations and displaying the results in configurations designed to be seen from orbit. Flensmaster Zavrik rules from the fortress Vilespar on Narakir. The Black Legion. The Luna Wolves were the Emperor's golden boys, led by his favorite son and warmaster, Horus Lupercal. Their betrayal turned the Great Crusade into a galactic civil war. When Horus died, the Legion lost everything and became the most hated losers in the Eye of Terror. Even other traitor legions despised them for being the first to retreat. Ezekiel Abaddon, Horus's first captain, refused to inherit a legacy of failure and chose to burn it instead. He destroyed every clone of Horus that Fabius Bile had created, painted the Legion's armor black in mourning, and renamed them the Black Legion. Unlike the other traitor legions, the Black Legion serves no single chaos god, viewing the warp as a tool to be mastered rather than a master to be worshipped. Abaddon welcomes any traitor, from ancient heresy veterans to modern renegade chapters, as long as they paint their armor black and swear a blood oath to him. Their battlefield style is the spear point, the literal cutthroat and high-speed decapitation strike that kills the enemy general in one blow to eliminate enemy command structures and let the army die without a head. They use massive artillery and flesh metal mutants called obliterators to turn every battlefield into a meat grinder. Abaddon replaced the old hierarchy with the Ezekarian, an inner circle of lords from across the Eye. This core is boosted by the Justeran Terminators and the Demonkin, warriors who have fused their souls with warp entities to become living weapons of the Warmaster. Over 10,000 years, 13 Black Crusades eventually shattered Cadia and tore the galaxy in half. While others hide in warp rifts, the Black Legion remains an apex predator, currently dominating the Nachman Gauntlet and turning the Vital Passage into an Imperial slaughterhouse. In the current timeline, Abaddon started by trying to crush the Imperium's best generals like Marneus Calgar at Vigilus. When that stalemate almost cost him his flagship, he leveled up. He allied with Vashtor, trading his army's strength for god-tier technology. Now the Warmaster's ultimate goal, the death of the Imperium, is finally within reach. The Alpha Legion. 2 years before the events on Istvan III, the Alpha Legion was supposedly recruited by the Xenos Cabal. They were shown a prophecy showing that the Emperor's death would lead to the downfall of Chaos, and this made them support Horus as a calculated move. Whether they were the masterminds behind this or simply pawns caught in the Warp's game remains one of the mysteries of the heresy. For 10,000 years, the Legion has remained everywhere and nowhere, operating through infiltration and total insurgency. Most recently, during the Reign of Iron, they provided Perturabo's Iron Warriors with stolen Imperial codes and inquisitorial ciphers for undisclosed terms. The Legion's greatest secret was the existence of twin Primarchs, Alpharius and Omegon. During the Battle of Pluto in M31, Rogal Dorn decisively took down Alpharius with his chainsword, Storm's Teeth. The Hydra Primarch had snuck into the solar system, aiming to test Dorn's defenses and showcase his tactical prowess. However, Dorn saw right through his riddles and struck a fatal blow instead. This shocking death was felt psychically by his twin, Omegon, who, in the wake of the loss, quietly stepped into Alpharius' role to keep up the Legion's appearance. While older records claim that Roboute Guilliman was responsible for killing a Primarch at Escador during the Scouring, more recent accounts suggest he probably faced off against Omegon or perhaps a body double. The World Eaters. The downfall of the World Eaters started on Nuceria long before the heresy ever took shape. After the Emperor whisked Angron away from his dying slave army, the Primarch's bitterness turned into a deep-seated wound. He compelled his legion to embrace the Butcher's nails, cortical implants hammered into his own skull as a gladiator, flooding the brain with constant pain and artificial bloodlust, installed into every warrior. The process was frequently fatal. Khorne is the blood god, and he demands exactly one thing: kill everything in front of you. The World Eaters are his most devoted servants. They close with the enemy and kill until there is nothing left. Long-range weapons are a theological insult. Chainaxe and blade are the only honest tools for total carnage, with the Butcher's nails overriding the pain response and keeping them moving until the body physically fails. After the heresy, Karn the Betrayer lit a fire on Scalathrax to stop his warriors sheltering from the cold and killed as many World Eaters as enemies in the frenzy that followed. The Legion shattered into competing warbands that have operated independently for 10,000 years. With the opening of the Great Rift, Angron has returned and is now an unstoppable force of nature. If he's cast into the warp, he reappears precisely 8 weeks, 8 days, and 8 hours later, lured by the 8 Crimson Omens. The scattered warbands then reunite around their Primarch. In M42, the Legion fights as a unified force for the first time since Scalathrax. During the Arcs of Omen campaign, Karn stood at Angron's side, boarding the Honor of Terra and slaughtering its command staff. Wielding Gorechild, Karn continues a kill count that has run for 10 millennia. The World Eaters are no longer just raiders, they are Khorne's hammer, striking at the heart of the Imperium. The Death Guard. Built for endurance and defined by Mortarian's belief in surviving anything through willpower, the Death Guard ultimately betrayed the Emperor out of sheer despair. During the heresy, the secretly corrupted First Captain Typhus murdered the fleet's navigators, stranding the Legion in the warp. When the Destroyer Plague began rotting the Legion alive, Mortarion, driven by his son's agony, surrendered to Nurgle. They have been walking corpses ever since. Their bodies are fused with rusted ceramite and bloated by supernatural contagion, making them nearly impossible to kill. They deploy Plague Marines who absorb terminal wounds and demon engines that breathe toxic miasma. Mortarion rules from the Plague Planet, treating war as a calculated science, while Typhus, Nurgle's favored host of the Destroyer Hive, operates the Terminus Est independently. Typhus openly hates his Primarch, viewing Mortarion's lingering bitterness toward the warp as a lack of true devotion to the Plague God. In the current era, the Death Guard launched the Plague Wars against Ultramar, the most organized traitor campaign since the heresy. While Typhus shattered orbital defenses, Mortarion ravaged the surface worlds, eventually dueling his brother, Roboute Guilliman, on Ix. Mortarion only retreated because Nurgle personally recalled him to the Scourge Stars. He left the Ultramarines' realm broken and rotting. The Emperor's Children. Once hailed as the most disciplined legion and the only one allowed to carry the Emperor's personal Aquila, the Emperor's children ultimately fell through their own obsession with perfection. After getting a demon-infested blade from the Xenos lair, Fulgrim fell into a deep corruption when the demon twisted the legion's quest for excellence into a craving for endless sensation. As the chosen servants of Slaanesh, the Emperor's children approach every battle as a grand spectacle. Their philosophy revolves around sensory overload. Noise Marines wield sonic weaponry designed to shatter both nervous systems and morale before delivering the final blow. Their raids are so meticulously extreme that they warp reality itself. Lucius the Eternal roams the galaxy in search of the finest warriors, driven solely by the intensity of the duel. For 10,000 years, this individualistic quest for excess has rendered them the most fragmented of all traitor legions, functioning as a chaotic collection of hedonistic warbands. In the present day, Lord Commander Eidolon formed the Phoenix Conclave, bringing together the scattered remnants into a unified force for the first time since the heresy. The Iron Warriors. They made their stand at Istvan V after the brutal massacre on Olympia left Perturabo convinced that the Emperor would never forgive him. He had just obliterated his own homeworld in a rebellion, resulting in the deaths of millions during a suppression so ruthless that it even horrified his own legion. Fearing retaliation from the Imperium, he decided to support Horus. Chaos Undivided fits the Iron Warriors perfectly because they have no interest in deities. To them, the warp is just a resource and demons are merely tools. Their most unique unit, the Obliterators, embodies their philosophy, merging human form with their ideology. Their strategy revolves around total siege warfare, both in defense and attack. No other legion can create more fortified positions or dismantle Imperial defenses with such mathematical precision. Their fortress world, Medrengard, located in the Eye of Terror, is regarded as the most secure structure in Chaos space. Perturabo governs it by crunching numbers and allowing his warsmiths to operate autonomously while he runs simulations. He has taken part in Black Crusades when it suited his goals, but never fully committed until the fall of Cadia. In M42, Perturabo struck a deal with Vashtor the Archifane for advanced siege technology and teamed up with the Alpha Legion to acquire stolen Imperial codes and inquisitorial ciphers. His main target is Forge World Agrippina, the source of Cadian weaponry for the past 10,000 years. The Thousand Sons. The Thousand Sons were the last to fall, and for the most ironic reason. Attempting to warn the Emperor of Horus's betrayal, Magnus the Red used forbidden sorcery that accidentally shattered the Emperor's secret webway project. In the ensuing chaos, the Space Wolves were dispatched to Prospero to arrest Magnus, but were manipulated by Horus into burning the world instead. To save his dying sons from annihilation, Magnus pledged his soul to Tzeentch in the final seconds of the battle. As servants of Tzeentch, the god of change and sorcery, the Legion is a shadow of its former self. To stop the flesh change mutations ravaging the survivors, the chief librarian Ahriman cast a massive spell known as the Rubric. It succeeded, but it turned every non-psychic marine into dust, trapping their souls inside hollow, animated suits of power armor. These Rubricae are now mindless automatons directed entirely by the will of the surviving sorcerers. The Legion uses multi-dimensional fortress ships called Silver Towers and deploys Rubricae to hold the line while sorcerers unleash telekinetic storms and fate-altering spells. They treat the material universe as a laboratory, using sorcery to bypass physical defenses that would stop any other Legion. In M42, Magnus pulled the Sortiarius out of the Eye of Terror entirely and anchored it in real space above the ruins of Prospero. The planet of the sorcerers is now permanently back in the material universe. Magnus personally led the assault on Fenris, fought the Space Wolves, Dark Angels, and Grey Knights simultaneously, and was eventually banished. He achieved his actual objective anyway. The Thousand Sons are now raiding Space Marine chapter homeworlds across the fractured Imperium, treating the galaxy's chaos as a library to be looted and a species to be broken. Ahriman is somewhere in the webway, still looking for the Black Library, convinced he can fix what he broke. Magnus is on Sortiarius, gazing down at the deteriorating Imperium, consumed by memories of the crimes it has done to him and his sons. Thanks for watching until the end. Click here to check out another video and see you in the next one.